Welcome to EVE Online, everybody. So today I'm going to be talking to you about smart bombing and how you can become a pro smart bomber just like me. Alright, first off we're going to start with the fitting and the ship type that you want to be flying. So you're going to want to get your hands on a Machariel, first step, and then you're going to want to get your hand on this Fitt right here. Now there's different variations of this Fitt and they all work pretty well, but so far for me this has been the best Fitt. So without further ado, you can fly with just Tech 1 smart bombs, but you're gonna have a lot more people getting away from you, and you're not gonna be able to kill interceptors and stuff that try to warp scram you. So with the faction Fitt, you get an awesome range of 7,500. This allows you to basically kill anybody that tries to scram you, seeing as they make a mistake and get him within weapon scram range of you. So what you want to do is, I'll explain it after, but anyway, so yeah, you want all your high slots with these Imperial Navy large EMP smart bombs, or you want the Tech 1 variant, which is, go to large. And if you do get the Tech 1, it might use a little bit more CPU, so you're going to have to play around with your Fitt a little bit or get some implants. But the implants that you should get to make up the difference is pretty cheap, so you're going to want either those faction ones, or you're going to want the shockwave charge. Majority of the time people are going to be really weak to EM. And even then they're going to be shield tanked, so you're going to want EM damage regardless. But it doesn't really matter that much. I just prefer the EMs. I've grown up in drone space and that's just what I'm used to, so that's what I stick with. But as far as the faction stuff, these ones have very high damage. They're 375 and they have the highest range, which is 750, unless you're going with purple modules, obviously, which is, you know, if you want to go purple, you can go purple. It's just going to cost you like 10 billion ISK just to fill the high slots, which if you're a very good pilot is actually not too bad, because you can just warp to the gate at 10 and just kill anybody that decides that they want to go straight to the gate. So with the amount of safety that the ship provides and escapability, if you have a lot of money, then yeah, you could go purple and it would actually increase your odds of killing people quite substantially and just make your life a lot easier. But the factions seem to work pretty good. Alright, so that's the Fitt. I'll post a Fitt in the description, so you know, I'm not going to hover over and explain everything. Let's see here. So now we're going to move on to the second stage of how to become a good smart bomber, which is, to get out of here, a little tactic I like to call setting up pings. And you should learn how to do this pretty early on in the game, no matter what your playstyle is. Setting up pings is very crucial to becoming a good pilot in EVE Online. So it allows you to get around other people's traps and allow you to set up traps. So okay, so there's a neutral in system, so I'm actually going to go to one of my pings right now and see if I can catch him. Don't know which gate he came in from, but I'm just going to take a guess and head to the gate that has the best chance of me catching him, which is in this system is the BT gate. So I'm going to head on over there. Now this tactic here I'm going to cover a little bit later. It's called gate racing. So gate racing, you're basically just trying to beat the neutral to the gate that he's going to and land there within his path before he makes it to the gate. So I'm just going to land here. When I land, I want to approach this ping here. Now chances are he probably came from this gate. Oh, no, hold on. Has he not left the gate? Okay, fine. Let's turn around, see if we can beat him at the other gate. Now he's looked like it was an interceptor, so he's probably really, really fast. So I doubt I'm going to beat him. Actually, I almost guarantee I'm not going to beat him there. And not only that, I didn't warp to my ping, I warped 10k off. So that means I'm going to have to close the gap to the gate if he lands on it at 0. Sorry, I kind of skipped some of my explanation here. Oh, he didn't land. Cool. Let's go ahead and approach the ping. Now if he comes from the sun, I'm not going to be able to get him. And he's probably going to come from the sun, so let's actually burn this way, because I believe that brings me closer to the sun. Actually, no. Let's stay on that ping. Okay, wherever he is, he's cloaked up. $8K off the gate if you're using faction smart bombs with max range. 5K off the gate, or 6K off the gate if you're using regular T1, and 7K off the gate if you're using regular T2 smart bombs. Okay, the reason for this is you don't want to be at max range when you warp in on the gate. You want to be like 1,000 off, because when people warp to the gate, they land about 2,500 off. So you're within your sweet spot. Now if you get too close to the gate, which is the maximum range of your smart bombs, that's the farthest or the closest to the gate you're allowed to get before it doesn't allow you to use your smart bombs, you're gonna land, like, let's say if you're using Tech 2, okay, so you left. If you're using Tech 2, yeah, let's go and just go over there. Yeah, 10K off.
Warp drive
yeah, so if
active.
you're using Tech 2 smart bombs with 6K range, and let's say you land at 5,750, you're not going to be able to use your smart bombs. And if you put the ping at 6,000, which is exactly the max range, you're never going to catch anybody, because when you warp in, you're either going to warp in just outside of that if you're lucky, or you're going to warp in just short of 6,000 and you won't be able to smart bomb. So that's why you always put it 1,000 farther than what your ship can actually hit. That way if you land like 500 farther or 500 closer, you're still good. You can still smart bomb people. So that's why you set the pings there. And these pings are for gate racing. So what you'll do usually is you'll sit. Let's go ahead and warp to the station.
Warp drive active.
So that's another trick here, is that if you put a small bubble down, if you land at the edge of a small bubble, you can still warp off. You see that? So it doesn't actually fuck you most of the time. Sometimes you'll land in it, but most of the time you'll still be able to warp off. That's why you use small bubbles. Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to go to the station, and this is what you're going to be doing most of the time. So you're just going to be sitting outside the station here. This is a little bit too far out. You might get bumped off and killed, so what you want to do is you want to dock up, and then you want to undock, and when you undock, you'll end up just outside the doors here, and that's where you want to sit. And you want to just stay there until like somebody in your intel channel or somebody in comms reports, hey, there's neutral, like 1 jump out or 2 jumps out, and whichever gate that they're going to come through to get to you, you want to be on the opposite gate. You want to be on the outbound gate. So primarily you want to find a system where there's only 2 gates. There's 1 in, 1 out. And whenever somebody comes into the system, like that neutral did, you want to go to the adjacent gate, the gate he's going to use to get out, and you want to warp to your ping. So let's say like somebody's coming from I6, I want to warp to the ping that I have set up on BT. So here, smart bomb ping, warp to 0.
Warp drive active.
And then this ship takes about 7 seconds to align and warp off. So as long as he takes more than 7 seconds to align and warp off from his gate, like decloak, align and warp off, most people wait like about 10 seconds. So that gives you about a 3-second head start. So you should get to the adjacent gate before he does. And especially with this ship, because if you look at this ship, the warp speed is pretty phenomenal. So I'm getting 5.28 on this one. So I do have some rigs, but still, that's pretty good. And then once you land, you want to burn directly to your ping that you have set up. So now that I landed, see, so I'm about 9,000 off. So I could still smart bomb somebody if they were warping in from the adjacent gate. So this isn't foolproof. Some people will get around you. Some people will warp to the sun before they warp to you. But if you have it set up properly, like this gate, I can smart bomb people with this 1 ping coming from either the gate or the sun, or any other object that isn't a combat site in the system. So if they come from anywhere in the system, unless it's a combat site that's like around the gate somewhere, like behind the gate, I can still hit them. So okay, so I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the next step. So let's say you're waiting on this gate, right? And you're just kind of camped here, because you can do that too. You don't have to wait at the station, you can camp the gate. Let's say I'm camping the gate and I see this gate flash, right? And the neutral pops up in local. Now the neutral popped up in local and I seen this gate flash, so I know he's coming from this gate. So what I immediately want to do is I want to align to this gate, and then I just want to warp there. So I just go warp to 10k off, right?
Warp drive
So
active.
you warp to 10k off, or you can warp to the ping, but it doesn't matter. You're going to land roughly 10k off whether you warp to the ping or not. So now he probably decloaked like right now and he's going to start warping. So I should get there 5-6 seconds before he has a chance to. So I have a bubble here. Most of the time you won't have a bubble unless you're planning on decloaking people. So now even if he's cloaked, he's going to land on me, he's going to decloak right on the edge of this bubble. Now the only time this bubble's not good is if it's an interceptor, because if it's an interceptor you have to hit him while he's in warp. Now you can't hit people while they're in warp when they're smart bombing. So killing an interceptor, even though you're not close enough to the gate to hit him when he comes out of warp, doesn't matter. You can still kill him on the way to the gate. You just have to time your smart bombs perfectly. And you have to hope he doesn't have enough EHP to survive one volley off all your smart bombs. Because if not, he'll still make it to the gate and he'll just jump through. So, but usually when you land here, you'll land 10k off, and then you just want to burn to this ping. I'm not going to do it now because that'll put me in the bubble and I don't want to be in there. That's another thing. You don't want to be stuck inside bubbles unless you have a micro jump drive on you. But even then, it's just safer to be outside the bubble. Okay. So here we go. I'm going to burn just outside of it. Now I'll still decloak people when they land on the edge of this bubble, because you decloak people if you're 25k from them, or 2k 500 from them. Yep. So anyway, he would land in this bubble, I would smart bomb him, he would die. If he was a cloaky ship and he had too much tank, I would smart bomb him, and then I would just continuously hit the button. Maybe I would hit approach and continuously like smash my buttons. You can overheat your smart bombs to get them to go off a second time a little bit faster. Like if I overheat the smart bomb, it goes off every 7 seconds instead of every 9.8 or whatever. So you can do that, that's another trick, but you are only going to get like 3-4 volleys off of all these smart bombs before you burn them out completely, and then you have to go dock up and repair them or use repair paste or whatever. So I don't really recommend that you overheat. I do recommend though that you approach either your ping or the gate and try to chase them down and keep smart bombing. You'll usually hit them a second time before they get to the gate and kill them. Yeah, so that's called gate racing, when you try to race them to the gate that they're going to before they get there, and smart bomb them when they land on top of you. So there you go. Anyway, important fact to get out of this is you can smart bomb people when they're in warp. So that means even if they're warping, like let's say he lands on the other side of the gate here and he's warping through you to get to the other gate, you can still smart bomb him and kill him before he leaves this gate here. So just make a note of that. Also, people coming in, you don't have to be directly where they're going to come out of warp. You can just smart bomb them when they fly over you. So okay, so next strategy I'm going to show you, here, let me pull up my notes here, because last time I tried to make this video I got all mixed up. So gate racing I covered, cloaking bubbles. Okay, yeah, so cloaking bubbles, you can get a little bit more advanced and approach this bubble just until you're just outside the bubble where people are going to land. Or you can warp to the other gate, warp back, and land in the bubble. And when you do that, you can do one of three things. You can either jettison something that's really cheap, put a can here, and that way you can not have to worry about being in the bubble to decloak people, or near the bubble to decloak people. You can be anywhere 7,000 off of wherever they're going to land. Also, when you do that, you can put yourself far enough away from this bubble so that you don't hit the bubble, because you can kill your own bubbles when you're smart bombing. So you can put yourself like another 2k off of this and be outside of range of hitting your bubble, but you can still hit people that land here. The only downside with that is if they start burning to the gate and they hit their Microwarpdrive, you might not land the second volley off, where if you were just sitting on the edge of the bubble, you would land the second volley. But that's still a good strategy if you want to save bubbles. Just yeah, be a little bit farther. We ain't put the can here to decloak people. You will not destroy the canister with your smart bombs, so that's another thing to note. The canister lasts 2 hours, and you can't destroy it. Now another thing you can do is pick up the small secure cans. The small secure cans you can put up here and they last like a day or two. Same thing, you can't destroy those with smart bombs. And they just last longer. And the secure ones people can't pick up, but they can destroy, so just be aware of that. They can blow it up if they lock onto it. So another thing you can do is put a drone out. But if you put a drone out, it lasts for one smart bomb. Once you smart bomb near that drone, then you kill the drone. So I don't suggest that you use drones for that. Just use the small cans and the jettison, whatever you want to jettison. Like 1 ammo will do. Okay, so another trick here is hunting. So if you want to actively hunt people with a smart bombing ship, you need a lot of pings. Okay, so you need pings like the ones that we set up here. But let's say somebody made it through and I smart bombed them once and they made it through the gate and I want to chase them down, so I'm going to go jump and hit my Microwarpdrive. Now it's going to take me a little while to get to this gate, but let's say that I managed to get there and they weren't decloaked on the other side yet, like they were waiting for something, or they were checking sites or whatever, looking at the map. And then they see me jump into the system and they're like, oh, okay, this guy's he's gonna try to catch me. So they decloak as soon as I come in the system and they warp off. Now let's say I see that he goes towards OTEC 5. Right, so we'll go jump in OTEC 5.
Warp drive active.
Now it's a dead end branching systems, but let's just pretend that it's not, and it just goes in a big loop and I can come back, or it goes out to some other place. So if he goes to that system, I should be landing on the gate right when he jumps through, like at this point. So I'll be landing on the gate. He probably just landed on the gate now. He'll be taking the gate. So I'll be jumping through the gate as well after him. Now here, he's probably doing the same thing. He's like, okay, well, where am I going to go? So I'm not going to give him the chance to warp off before me.
Warp drive
I'm going to just take a guess on where he's going. I'm going to warp there. Okay, I warped to 0. That's my mistake. You actually want to warp at 10 kilometers. And then once you warp to 10 kilometers, once you warp to 10 kilometers, you want to burn to like just outside your optimum range for your smart bombs. So, let's see if, like, let's say I was 10 kilometers off, right? I would just burn towards that till I was max range of my smart bombs. Now, on the other hand, this is where the benefit of making pings comes into play, right? So if you have pings, you warp to the ping, because the ping will already be just outside maximum range. So as soon as you come out of warp, you should be able to smart bomb him if he's coming in. Right, so as soon as you pop out of warp, he'll be flying just over top of you, and that's when you hit your smart bombs. And that's how you successfully hunt people. So let's say I came into the system just before he did. I would warp like 10k off of this, or I have a smart bombing ping on this as well. So I would just go smart bomb ping, warp to that.
Warp drive active.
0. Now he'd be coming into the system now. I would already be starting to align and warp, so he would probably decloak right now. He would start to align, and now he would probably be going into warp if he was like in Interceptor or something. Now if he's an Interceptor, he's a little bit faster than me on warp speed, so he'd probably land there, even though he warped a little bit later. He'll probably land there just as I land, or maybe like he'd be coming out of warp right about now, and I'd be coming out of warp, and then I'd be slamming my smart bombs, right? Oh, I landed a little bit too close. Okay, so this ping, I have to remake it. I think I made it for Tech 2 smart bombs, not for my factions. So, yeah, you want to land a little bit further if you're using factions, right? So anyway, as soon as I land, I'd be smashing those keys and getting my smart bombs to go off. He'd be flying right over me, and he would probably die. And that's how you hunt people in smart bombing battleship. And you can do this. You can set these pings up all over the place, and just keep following people until you happen to land on a ping before they do. And then they're dead. They're as good as gone. Especially if you manage to hit them once before. Okay, so there's that strategy. Now I'm gonna teach you guys how to evade large fleets. So let's say you're sitting over here and you're on this smart bomb ping, which this is a bubble ping, but let's just pretend it's a smart bomb ping. Okay, so you're sitting here and you're camping this gate, right? Somebody comes in from either this gate or they come in from like one of the other gates in the system. And you're like, okay, I'm just gonna sit here and wait for him to fly over and smart bomb him. Well, little do you know that he's actually coming around a loop, and the enemy fleet is about to come through the gate that you're sitting on. So let's say he's sitting over there and he hasn't warped in yet. And now you just see 5, 10, 15 people coming in the system. This gate starts flashing a lot. This is your time to like GTFO and get the hell out of there. Me, I usually wait a little bit because I like to push people's buttons and like kill one person before I warp off or some shit. But yeah, basically anytime that you're sitting outside a gate, you want to have your hotkey set so you can hit the spacebar, and you can, when you hit the spacebar, it'll warp you or jump you or even dock up at a station. So I have the station selected right here, right? So as soon as somebody comes in the system, I hit that spacebar.
Warp drive active.
I'm in warp, and they're probably decloaking right now. They're going to try and lock me. Chances are they're not going to get more than 1 or 2 points on me before I warp off. So boom, I'm out of there. I have 3 warp core stabs, so they're not going to be able to hold me and anchor me there for the fleet to actually get DPS on me. So I managed to survive an encounter with 15 people at a gate. Now let's do another scenario here. So let's say we got a VK. Jump here.
Warp drive active.
So let's say we're chasing somebody, and we land on a gate where there's, let's say 5, 6 people waiting for us, right? Now we land on a gate. When we warp to our pings, we actually warp 7, 8K off the gate. So even though we're landing on the gate, and you would think that, oh, we'll just jump through the gate, they can't catch you. No. They can still try to web you and stuff before you get to the gate. So we're gonna go ahead and jump through. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna warp to 10K off.
Warp drive active.
Boom. Okay, so you're in warp, right? You're chasing somebody down. You came into this system, you see that there's like 6, 7 neutrals, and you're hunting him down. And then you get to this gate, and you land on the edge of a bubble, right? Now, obviously you're not going to land on the edge of a bubble, but let's just pretend that there's a bubble here and there's like 4 or 5 people. Okay, you're like, oh fuck, there's a bunch of people. You have 2 options now. You can either try to turn around and break all their locks with your burst jammer. No, hold on. Somebody came in the system and this gate didn't flash. That means he came from the other gate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit on this gate and I'm going to prepare to smart bomb him. But yeah, anyway, you have 2 options. You can either try and smash this gate and just put your Afterburner on, so even if they get webs on you, you're still traveling at like 200 kilometers an hour, or meters an hour, or meters per second. But or oh, here we go. He was a cloaky guy. Okay. Yeah, see, in order to catch the cloaky guys, you need to have a decloaker bubble. I didn't have a decloaker bubble, otherwise he would have been dead. So that's one issue. with cloaky people, like people with covert ops cloaks, Asteros, those sort of things. Once they reach the gate, it's too late. You can't smart bomb them. What you can do though, if you don't have a bubble, is just have one of your smart bombs on, and have that going off constantly until you hear the like the little alarm that says that you're targeting like a player or an NPC, that you're just basically doing damage to some sentient thing in space. And as soon as you hear that noise, you hit all your other smart bombs. Now you have like 1 second to react to this before he reaches the gate and it's too late. But if you do, and I have done it before, if you do get this off, you will kill the cloaky person that's warping to this gate, because you'll hit him just before he gets out of oh shit, I just smart bombed this guy. Anyway, you'll kill him just before he gets out of warp. Okay, so I'm gonna go into comms here and just apologize for hitting that guy.
Unmuted and undeafened.
Hey, sorry for hitting you. I was trying to explain how to decloak people in my video.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Alright, peace.
3 pins. Question.
Yeah, what's up?
Do you have super?
No, I don't have a super.
Do you want to buy one?
Nope, I'm good, thank you.
Ah, come on.
Nah, I'm good. I don't have like 50 billion to just throw around. Anyway, I gotta finish this video. Talk to you later.
50 billion?
Okay.
Alright. So, anyways, yeah, so it's one trick you use to decloak people is you just keep one of your smart bombs on, and as soon as you hear that ping saying that you hit somebody, then you hit all your smart bombs. Sorry if I'm repeating stuff over and over again, I just keep getting interrupted and distracted, so. Let's just go over what we went over in the video here, and pull up that thing here. Okay, so the fitting, I'll post the fitting in the description. The pings, I showed you how to make the pings. These are basic pings, or you can do double bubble pings and stuff like that, which I'm sure they cover in other YouTube videos, but if you want to know how to make double bubbles, which are really good, you put a bubble inside of a bubble at 5k off or 500k off the gate, and it pulls people through the large bubble into the small bubble in the center of the large bubble, which means that no matter which way the neutral decides to go, he has to burn 30k to get out of the bubble. That's good for setting up for gate camps. I can teach you guys how to do that as well. There's another trick where you put a bubble at 100, bubble at 200, and bubble at 400. And then every time they try to warp to the gate, if everything in the system is in line with those bubbles, let's say he burns through the first bubble, he warps to the gate, he gets stuck in the second bubble, and he's like, oh fuck me. So he turns around and he fucking warps back out of the bubble to like another structure and system to try and get around them, and then he warps back to the gate, gets stuck in the first bubble again. Oh my god, those are awesome. You put a small bubble at 100, you put a medium bubble at 200, and then you put a large bubble at either 300 or 400, and people just freaking hate your life. So yeah, if you're having an op, like a big mining op in a system or something, you'll like piss a lot of fleets off if you do that kind of shit. Also, what you can do is you can split up a lot of fleets, so you can sit at the gate on your ping, and interceptors will land on top of you, but the rest of the fleet will be stuck in the bubbles, and you can just pick off the interceptors, which is freaking hilarious. So like if a massive fleet is coming in with like 200-300 people even, you can sit here and get like 5-6 kills just off of killing the interceptors that are trying to scout the system. It's freaking hilarious. Yeah, so, and believe me, I've actually done it before. I've killed like 1 or 2 interceptors from fleets with over 50 people coming in the system. Yeah, so that's, smart bombers are really good for that, pissing off massive fleets. It's great, it's awesome, and it feels really good. So, aside from that, what else did we talk about here? So we're going over. Okay, yeah, so that's the pings, so setting up the pings. If you want to know how to set up those bubbles, give me a shout in the comments. Gate racing, so we went over gate racing, so you just want to beat people to the gate that they're going to, and you get a kill almost every time, unless they can out-tank your 3000 alpha damage, which most people can't if they're in a frigate. Step 4, decloaking bubbles. Yeah, so I showed you guys how to set up a decloaking bubble, how to put the cans on it. And then step 5, hunting pings. So I showed you how to make pings around systems that are in your area, and if people get through in one area, you can just follow them to the next ping and the next ping and the next ping until you get in front of them. And yeah, so they're not going to be flying directly to the gate, so you should be able to get in front of them, because people don't like to fly places unless they know what's at the other end. And you don't give a shit because you're in a Smartbomb battleship and you can take on like anything that comes your way almost. So you just keep flying to the next gate and the next gate and the next gate. We went over some extra stuff that I didn't really mean to cover in this video, which was how to get away from people that are trying to catch you. So you have a lot of things in your arsenal here. You have Sentient Burst Jammer, you have 3 Warp Core Stabs, you have ECM drones. I didn't go over the ECM drones, but yeah, you do have EC-300s that you can use. You have 2 sets of those. So if somebody does manage to smart bomb or blow up your one set, you can put out the other set and just try to break somebody's lock that is primary tackle and get off the field. If somebody puts down a bubble, so what you want to do, like if somebody has a saber, let's say, and they put a bubble right on top of you, you have smart bombs, okay? The bubble's not gonna last. Hit the bubble. Even if you want, you could lock up the saber if nobody else is around, and you can just fly towards them. You'll lock them up in about 40 seconds, 40 or 30 seconds. If nobody shows up, just go ahead and kill this guy, man. You got a web, you got a scram, kill this freaking little guy that tried to, you know, scram you, whatever. He probably doesn't have a scram, so you can use your Microwarpdrive. You can even overheat it. If you overheat it, it brings you over 2K. Yeah, so I'm getting 2,097 meters per second. And you just catch up to him, you put the stuff on him after 30 seconds, and he's gonna die. And then you just smart bomb the living shit out of him. You also have 5 medium drones, 5 light drones. So if like somebody's pulling range on you and you can't get the burst jam off, and the ECM drones are pretty well all dead, you can also switch to your mediums or lights to try and get him to let go of you because he's taking too much damage. Let's see, there's a couple other things. Also, if somebody comes in to try and help you, smart bombs are very unfriendly to friendly players that are trying to help you. So what you want to do is just shut those off and then switch to your medium drones or your light drones and just try to help out as much as you can. Be the tackle. Yeah, and then just you also have the heavy capacity booster too. So if you need, for whatever reason, like let's say you're taking on a Tengu or a Hecate and you're running out of juice, right? He's neutralizing you or whatever, you can't get enough smart bombs off to kill this guy, you can go ahead and boost your cap a bunch of times. You can hold a max of 8 or 9 cap boosters, and it's 10-second reload, so you basically just have unlimited cap for like, yeah, whatever, 30 seconds, 50, 60 seconds, a minute. So you can just chase this guy down, put your webs, put your scrams, put your afterburner if he's scramming you. Even you can, if you're soloing him, you can use your burst jammer as well, try and cut down on his DPS. And just keep smart bombing him till he's dead. Yeah. So you are going to put most of your DPS, you do about 500 DPS with your smart bombs if you're using these faction ones. And 500 DPS will kill a Loki, especially if he's not cap stable. So yeah, do that. Let's see here. Depends on his fit too. If he's like super tank Loki, or yeah, most of them are speed tank and they're really low rep, so you should be able to kill them. Or they're buffer fit, and if he's buffer fit, you'll be able to kill him in a minute. Anyways, as far as our tank goes, you are hull tanked. So if you take a look at this, boom, you have 13,000 hull, 60% resistance across the board. You have 12,000, almost 15,000, 13,000 on every other resistance. EHP is 760, which is going to be able to out-tank almost anything that you solo in the ship. And all you have to do is treat it like a brawler ship and just try to get up close and apply damage. That's it. So that's how you solo people if they decide to take the fight to you. I have a couple videos on my YouTube channel if you want to see me taking on like Stilettos solo before their fleet shows up. If you want to see me taking on Hecate's solo before his fleet shows up, and you know, a bunch of stuff. Yeah, you can take a look at that. I even take on like a super tanked, what is it? Super tank Gnosis with like 2 other friends, and I managed to break his lock, warp off, and reship into a golem, and then come over and fuck his face. What else? Yeah, and then I take on like a couple massive fleets of like 30-40 people, and I managed to break all their break the locks of the couple that came through, and managed to get off before the main fleet came through. And yeah, so this ship is very good. Now I did lose one because I made a mistake, and then I had to smash this gate. There was a bunch of neutrals that came through. They managed to get a hold of me, and I realized like the bubbles went up from the sabers, and I realized I wasn't gonna get out of there. So I started burning towards the gate to try and smash it, and I had the great idea of hitting my burst jammer to like stop people from webbing me. And if I wouldn't have done that, I would have made it, because the majority of the fleet was aggressing me, and they wouldn't have been able to follow me through the gate. Unfortunately, I got a timer from using my burst jammer, and they were able to kill me. So, lessons learned. I'm not perfect, but I'm probably one of the better smart bombers in the game. So if you have any questions, give me a shout. If you want to know any other tricks that I have, like the double bubbles or the multiple bubble setup, let me know. You can also cover any other access point to this gate by putting bubbles in strategic places that are en route with combat sites that go around. And then you set at a ping and align yourself to whichever one that the neutrals land at, and manage to warp there before they're able to get out of the bubble and smart bomb them. There's other tactics like that you can use in order to catch these people, and it takes like about 15 minutes to set those things up. So lots of small bubbles, man. That's the trick to catching people with smart bombers. Lots of small bubbles, or you can minimize your risk of getting caught in your own bubbles and making your situation worse by just not using bubbles and trying to gate race people. So anyway, that's all for today, and if you have any questions, I'd like to see your comments, and hope you guys like this little montage that I'm going to put together at the end of this video, and enjoy. Bye-bye.
Eyes wide shut, but they know, buried alive by the lies in they soul. They stride of a blind man's stroll. Well, for whom does the next bell toll? I'm too many years in the zone, too many years to have built what I own. And many dumb fools try to take what I've grown, but these roots go deep and you can't blood a stone. So if you wanna push, I'ma shove. If you wanna spar, we can do it, no gloves. And if you're gonna run at me, you better do it hard, cause I fear no fall, no brawl, no scars. I'm 2 pounds shy of a bomb, I'm 1 shade short of alarm. I'm too past wrath that I'm calm, got 2 last laughs in my palms. I'm 3 degrees west of a hurricane, 4-wheel drive with a ball and chain. My 5'7" is irrelevant, I'm 6'6" if you threaten my development. Now see, a wise man learns from your mistakes and lets the blunders of his brother serve to fill his plate. So best be on your way before the tidal wave breaks, cause you don't wanna come to meet the reaper that awaits. Say no more than a mom you can't afford, and you don't wanna let this turn in the lines of mine and yours. And you don't wanna push your luck, but back up and withdraw, cause trust me when I tell you, you don't want that tooth and claw. And you don't wanna see inside the mind of savage kind, and you don't want that recognition of, oh, there goes that guy. But if you do decide that you were gonna play that hand and try, just think before you act, because your actions go around. A man with a grudge in a case, a man with intent on his face. And if a man walks in a place, let it be known I won't hesitate. This a long time coming, like a comet pass. Got them all fired up from the rocket blast. And if I fall on my sword, turn my bone to ash, Let it clog up the sand in that hourglass. We in the title fight, blow for a blow, and you can reap the benefit of what I have to sow. Cause I'm about that worth of which you don't appear to know. So you can take the scene while I take over the show.
It's a long way down when your head is in the clouds, and all around the sirens play. Don't get in my way, don't tell me I should bow, cause I'm no clown. This is not a game, don't get in my way.
You don't wanna say no more than a mime you can't afford, and you don't wanna let this turn in the lines of mine and yours, and you don't wanna press your up, but back up and withdraw. Cause trust me when I tell you, you don't want that tooth and claw, and you don't wanna see inside the mind of a savage kind, and you don't want that recognition of, oh, there goes that guy. But if you do decide that you're gonna play that hand and try, just think before you act, because your actions don't rewind. Poisoned by the snakes in the grass, hoaxed by the rats out the maze. They should've never poked the lion as he passed, cause now it's two hawks in a cage. This a tale of a cautionary kind. This a story of that Icarus design. This a message from the hanged man's twine. This when Mother Nature rips apart the fault lines. And this the type of thing that make a grown man cry, when feeble of the spine crumble underneath the grind, when blessings of the meek lead to lessons of the blind, when heaven shows its teeth and the planets are aligned. So amusing is the feeling as they race off. God, I'm using from the pressure as I chase off. Should've thought it through before we turn the face off. Now this fool sounding like he gonna turn his bass off. This an ace card, cut the game short. You don't wanna have an escalation of the main sword, and you don't wanna feel the flame that burns pride. Now you know the reason why those sleeping dogs lie.
Long way down when your head is in the clouds, and all around the sirens play. Don't get in my way, don't tell me I should bow, cause I'm no clown. This is not a game, don't get in my way.
You don't wanna say no more than a mime you can't afford, and you don't wanna let this turn in the lines of mine and yours, and you don't wanna push your up, but back up and withdraw. Cause trust me when I tell you, you don't want that tooth and claw, and you don't wanna see inside the mind of a savage kind, and you don't want that recognition of, oh, there goes that guy. But if you do decide that you're gonna play that hand and try, just think before you act, because your actions don't rewind. Very dangerous and it's strengthening its grip. And I don't have to tell them that they turn and pale with albinism. I am not their keepers, but I keep my own morale. And isn't everything we do just a matter of decision? So if life is just a prison, then I'm breaking out this minute. This is an epidemic of the vultures in the playpen. Weasels with a smile and a guile that leaves them vacant. Businessmen sticking up the lame and out the gate, and thieves wearing suits that they can never fool the vagrants. And con man bringing them treasures of fool's gold. CEOs grinning from swindling stocks cold. Politicians trading their morals for blindfolds, and cowards step aside as the criminal mind holds. Welcome to the jungle where deception is the code. Brother fighting brother as the avarice corrodes. See that evil, speak that evil, be that evil bold.